a Meawlai's podcast. Hi, meawies! Welcome back to Meawlai's podcast. Today's episode is a slow one. It's all about cozy routines, not the kind that tells you what you should be doing, but the soft, gentle habits that help us feeling a little better, especially on days when everything feels like a bit too much. This episode isn't about productivity, self-improvement, or fixing yourself. It's about comfort, about small moments that make life feel warmer, safer, and more manageable. I will be sharing some cozy routines I always come back to, why they matter to me, and how you can gently make space for yourself in a way that feels natural and pressure free. So, if you can, grab a warm drink, get comfortable, and let's slow down together. We are going to focus on morning routines that can give us a moment to pause and time for ourselves. I would love to know if you have any routines or if you would like to start having some. That's why I would like to share with you 11 morning routines ideas that I found on the Big Cozy Mornings blog. Maybe you will like some of them and feel inspired to try them out. They tell us that you don't need to accomplish everything from this list to enjoy the benefits of slowing down. In fact, trying to accomplish everything kind of defeats the point. Instead, pick 2 or 3 cozy morning routines ideas that speak to you and build from there. Let's go for number 1. Sip something warm before screens. Tea, coffee, or warm lemon water, serve in your favorite mug and savor it. I don't know about you, but I can start my day without my hot latte. It's my starting point of the day. But before the screen things, I'm not so good at it. I have a bad habit of checking my phone as soon as I open my eyes. Maybe it has to do with the fact that I use it as an alarm, and I always like to know if any of my family or close friends have sent me a message to know that everything is fine and nothing has happened during the night. But the problem starts if I open a social network, because then it's no longer a quick glance to see that everything is in order. That moment can be prolonged and disrupt the rhythm of my morning. Does this happen to you too? Okay, let's go for number 2. Let natural light in. Sunlight boosts serotonin and turns sleepiness into clarity. That's one of the things I miss most about living at my parents' house. Sunlight always comes in the morning, and just the natural light alone improved my mood a lot. A few years ago, I moved in with my boyfriend, and the apartment we live in doesn't get as much natural light. It seems silly, but now that I don't have it, I see how important it is. That's why I try to go for a walk on the beach, in the sun, wherever I can. Okay, number 3. Cuddle before you hustle. With a pet, a partner, or a pillow, physical comfort activates calm. I would love to cuddle up with my boyfriend in the morning, but he gets up very early to go to work. At my parents' house, I had my cat Palut, who would often come and cuddle up with me in the morning while the sun shone through the window. I miss him so much. That's why on the days we can stay in bed a little longer, I take the opportunity to cuddle with my boyfriend for a while. Waking up slowly in company feels so good and allows you to connect every more with that person or pet. If you can do it, don't miss the opportunity, please. Number 4, stay wrapped in something soft. Robes, fuzzy socks, or your comfiest sweater. Instant nervous system relief. Girls, I just love it. Can wearing fluffy soft sweaters all the time count as a hobby? Because honestly, the first thing I do when I get home is put on comfortable clothes or my pajamas and my fluffy soft warm sweater. Until I do this, I don't feel at home. Is it just me? I don't think so. I think all meawies have our cozy side. Okay, number 5. Read a single page. A poem, a calming quote, something that sparks joy rather than urgency. Read more. This is a goal I want to achieve this year. I want to sit in my favorite corner with my blanket and soft lining and read a little. Whether it is 2, 5, or 10 pages, whatever I feel like, but I want to pause for a moment, disconnect for everything, and focus on the emotions or stories from the text. Let's go with number 6. Stretch in bed. A slow movement always beat snapping awake. This is something that sometimes comes naturally to me without thinking. It doesn't happen every morning, but sometimes I feel the need to stretch when I wake up. Maybe it should start doing it more consciously and set aside 5 minutes after waking up to do this. Maybe I will. Number 7. Create a playlist of peace. Rain sounds, acoustic, choose your morning soundtrack. Girls, just the morning soundtrack? Personally, I have a bunch of different playlists. I can spend the whole day listening to music. It is my favorite emotional therapy. I'm sad? Music. I'm happy? Music. Do I need to focus? More music. It really helps me regulate my nervous system, calms me down, and makes me feel better. I think you could say I'm a bit addict to the music. I'm not going to deny it. But since we're talking about a playlist of peace, my best friend recently recommended a Spotify list that I think fits that mood. Pantone Color of the Year 2026. I really recommend it. In fact, it was a soundtrack for the creation of this episode. Indeed, I'm listening to it right now. Well, let's go for number 8. Simplify breakfast. Prep overnight oats or bake big bunches on weekends. You see, this is something I never done. I always eat something when I wake up, toast with something on it and coffee with milk, of course. Or if I'm going to work at a school, I will make a sandwich the day before, but normally I have to think about what to eat at the last minute, and it's true that sometimes it complicates my morning a bit if I'm very sleepy or indecisive. Do you prepare your breakfast in advance? Okay, number 9. Journal one sentence. A gratitude or intention is enough. Writing a sentence to express gratitude for something or set a goal for the day can be very positive, I think. It can even help motivate you to start the day with some more enthusiasm. I don't usually write it down, but I do set a daily goal that motivates me to start the day. Otherwise, I sometimes get lost in trivial things and I don't end up doing everything I wanted to do. Let's continue with number 10. Diffuse cozy scents. Vanilla, pine, cinnamon, comfort in the air. Well, I'm a little torn about this. I love vanilla scented candles and sweeter smells like that, but many of these candles and scents diffuser contains chemicals and substances that are toxic or harmful to health. But I love candles. They look pretty, they are cozy, and they give me a sense of peace. That's why when I buy them, I try to find out what they are made of. The last one I bought were super natural and eco-friendly, but I can never be completely sure if they contain any harmful ingredients, and that's bothered me a little. But I love them. And last but not least, number 11. Set a soft start boundary. Work notifications begin after you feel ready. This last point sounds great in theory, but some people have jobs that demand a lot of their attention early in the morning, and it's difficult to set limits. However, I think it's important to set as many limits as possible on working hours and breaks in order to have healthy relationship with work and not demand too much on yourself. Well, before we end today's episode, I just want to remind you one thing. You don't need to do all of this. Cozy routines aren't the checklist or a rule book. They are little invitations to be kinder to yourself. Maybe one idea stayed with you today, maybe none did, and that's okay too. The important part is noticing what brings you comfort and allowing yourself to make a space for it, without guilt or pressure. If you feel like it, I would love to know which cozy routines resonate with you, or if there's one you like to try after listening this episode. You can share it with me or just keep it as a quiet promise to yourself. Thank you for spending this slow moment with me. Take care of yourself, move gently through your day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye, Meawies!